Welcome collectors, gem lovers, and all those who see more than just sparkle in a stone. You're watching Gem Talk, where every gem tells a story and every story deserves to be told all the way to the end. In the world of gemstones, some were made to be admired, and some were made to disappear the moment they were discovered. They're not found in display cases. They don't show up on magazine covers, and if you have to ask the price, you'll never get close enough to see one. Because some gems aren't bought for beauty. They're bought for power. They're not cut to be worn. They're cut to be hidden. No one knows how many exist. No one knows who really owns them. All the world has ever seen is a single transaction. It lasted just 9 minutes, and the price shattered every record ever set by a diamond. The strangest part, none of the stones on today's list are flawless. They may have inclusions, they may be fragile, they may not even sparkle, and yet, they're worth more than any standard the gemstone world has ever known. 5 stones, 5 stories, and at number 1, a gem so valuable its price per carat rivals a penthouse in Manhattan. A gem that doesn't shimmer, but makes billionaires fall completely silent when its name is spoken. Some stones are famous, some are worshipped, and some were never meant to be found at all. To begin this list, we go deep into a mystery buried not just beneath the earth, but beneath the radar of the entire gem industry for nearly half a century. A stone so obscure, even leading gemologists once believed it to be a lab error. No photos, no records, no market, only one crystal. Ever. What followed was silence. No trade, no bidding, no fashion pieces, just one name, whispered in geological archives like a ghost entry. Top 5. Painite. First discovered in 1951 in Mogok, Myanmar, a region already famous for rubies and high-grade spinel, painite confused the scientific world. When the initial sample was sent to the British Museum of Natural History, it didn't match any known gemstone. It wasn't until 1957 that it was officially recognized as a new mineral species, named after the British collector who submitted it, Arthur Payne. What makes painite nearly mythical is this. For decades, not a single second specimen was ever found. While the world mined millions of carats of diamonds and sapphires, painite stood alone, as if it were a geological accident that nature never meant to repeat. It wasn't until the early 2000s, when deeper mining operations in Mogok and the Piant Gaya region resumed, that small veins of painite began to surface. But even then, the discoveries were minuscule. Most crystals were too small, too fractured, or too impure for cutting. Painite's color ranges from reddish-brown to orangey red to purplish red. With a hardness close to topaz, 8 on the Mohs scale, it's durable, but cutting it is no ordinary feat. Its hexagonal crystal structure, combined with elements like zirconium, boron, calcium, and aluminum, makes it highly unpredictable. Most stones fracture or shatter during faceting. Every finished gem is a calculated risk. That's why the value of high-quality painite can reach $50,000 to $60,000 per carat, sometimes more, if the gem is clean, vividly colored, and certified by a major gemological lab. But the real value isn't in the price, it's in the count. There are only a few hundred painite stones known to exist on Earth. Most of them are in museum collections, elite mineral vaults, or, more often than not, owned by people who never appear in public. To an archaeologist's eye, painite isn't just a gemstone, it's a timestamp, a glimpse into a fleeting geological event when by pure chance, nature created something that would never happen again. From a stone that was nearly invisible, we now turn to one so bright it was thought to be fake. When Paraíba tourmaline was first unearthed in Brazil, experts believed its neon glow had to be synthetic. But it was real, and within just a few years, the mine was empty. Today, even a single carat can reach $100,000, but collectors aren't chasing the price. They're chasing a shade of blue that, to this day, no one has ever been able to recreate. Top 4, Paraíba tourmaline. This electric blue-green stone doesn't just glow, it radiates. Its color isn't soft or translucent. It's neon, vibrant, almost electric to the eye. And for decades, scientists believed such color couldn't exist in a natural gemstone, until a single miner in Brazil proved otherwise. The year was 1989. In the hills of Paraíba state, northeastern Brazil, a man named Heitor Dimas Barbosa had been digging obsessively for nearly a decade. People called him mad. He had no map, no geological guarantee, just a feeling. And then it happened. Veins of tourmaline unlike anything ever seen. Unlike ordinary tourmalines, these crystals contained copper and manganese, a chemical combination that had never before been found in tourmaline. The result was color that defied nature. Neon blue, turquoise, sometimes shifting to greenish lagoon under certain light. But the discovery came with a cruel twist. The mine emptied out in just a few years. What took millions of years to form, humanity burned through in less than a decade. Today, high-quality Paraíba tourmalines from the original Brazilian source are considered among the rarest and most expensive gemstones on Earth. Even though smaller deposits have been found in Nigeria and Mozambique, only Brazilian stones have that surreal, electric glow, and collectors know the difference. Cutting Paraíba is a battle of compromise. Because the crystals are often thin or fractured, gem cutters must decide maximize size or maximize brilliance. Most choose the latter, because even half a carat of Brazilian Paraíba can command $30,000 to $100,000, depending on intensity and clarity. But make no mistake, this gem is not just about color, it's about timing. There are fewer and fewer Paraíba stones entering the market each year. The best ones never reach public auction. They vanish in private sales, move between vaults and collectors who trade them like art, quietly and with purpose. To an archaeologist, Paraíba tourmaline is a geological miracle, a moment when copper, pressure, time, and luck converge beneath the crust of Brazil to create a fire that glows not with heat, but with impossible color. Some gemstones are rare, but this one is sacred. In the West, people chase diamonds, but in the East, one color has ruled for centuries, a pure, translucent green. Imperial jadeite isn't just rare, it's cultural currency. The best stones are never sold publicly. They're gifted, inherited, locked away in vaults behind generations of silence. And when one does appear, it doesn't matter what the price is. It matters who gets to own it. Top 3. Jadeite. In the West, wealth is often measured in diamonds. But in the East, the true emblem of power has always been green. We're not talking about common jade, the kind used in bracelets or carved ornaments. We're talking about imperial green jadeite, a gemstone so rare, so revered, that in Chinese culture, it was once deemed more precious than gold or silver, and even than life itself. True imperial jadeite can only come from one place, the remote mines of northern Myanmar, deep in the highlands of Kachin State. These are not traditional mining sites. They're often carved by hand from dense mountain rock, surrounded by armed guards and operated under tight state control. Every gram extracted is logged, watched, and negotiated because the stakes are geopolitical. What defines imperial green jadeite? 3 things: color, translucency, and purity. The ideal piece must have a rich, vibrant emerald green hue, fully saturated, without gray or brown undertones. It must glow with a subtle internal light, as if lit from within. And most importantly, it must be untreated. No dye, no bleach, no oil, just nature. The finest quality jadeite is rarely faceted. Instead, it's carved into smooth cabochons, beads, or ornamental shapes. Because in jade culture, form carries meaning. A cabochon represents harmony, a ring, eternity, a bead, unity across generations. The world record for a jadeite jewel was set not at Sotheby's London or Christie's Geneva, but in Hong Kong, where a Cartier-designed jadeite necklace, once owned by heiress Barbara Hutton, sold for over $27 million. That's not just a price, it's a statement. And what collectors value even more? The pieces that never go to auction, pass through family lines, sealed in vaults, traded between political dynasties, not for display, but for legacy. In recent years, as global demand rises, untreated imperial jadeite has become nearly impossible to obtain. Most of what's on the market today is dyed or oiled, beautiful to the eye but not to the trained collector. And so the question becomes not can you afford it, but can you find it at all? For archaeologists, jadeite isn't just a gem. It's a cultural artifact, a gemstone that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, traveled through war zones, and been buried in tombs of kings. To hold one is not simply to own beauty, it is to carry history in your hand. Sometimes a gemstone becomes valuable. Other times, it vanishes and then becomes priceless. For decades, pink diamonds came from one place, the Argyle mine in Western Australia. In 2020, that mine closed forever. Since then, prices haven't just gone up, they've escaped gravity. Because when the world realizes something beautiful will never exist again, it starts to panic. Top 2. Pink diamond. Some gemstones climb in value. Others disappear, taking the market with them. Natural pink diamonds are among the rarest geological creations on Earth. But what makes them truly extraordinary is not just their color. It's that the single mine responsible for over 90% of them no longer exists. The Argyle mine in Western Australia was, for nearly 4 decades, the sole consistent source of pink diamonds. Unlike other deposits, the stones found here weren't just pink. They were saturated, deep, vivid, and complex. And then, in 2020, the mine closed. Permanently. What followed wasn't a market correction, it was a silent panic. Collectors, sovereign wealth funds, and billionaires moved swiftly, securing whatever high-quality pink diamonds remained before prices spiraled out of reach. What causes the pink hue? Unlike other colored diamonds, whose colors are caused by chemical impurities, the pink in Argyle stones comes from structural distortion. Millions of years of tectonic pressure twisted the crystal lattice of the diamond just enough to bend light and reflect red. The result? A color that feels less like pigment and more like memory. Soft, elusive, yet hauntingly alive. Pink diamonds are typically cut into modified radiant or cushion shapes, designs that maximize their depth of color. But even a small stone, say 1 carat of vivid pink, can fetch over 1.5 million US dollars. Larger specimens? They're museum tier. One of the most iconic sales? The Pink Star, a flawless 59.6 carat vivid pink diamond, sold in 2017 for $71.2 million, making it the most expensive gemstone ever sold at auction. But the real movement happens away from the spotlight. Private deals, off-market sales, discrete portfolios. Because pink diamonds are no longer seen as jewelry, they're seen as hard currency. Ultra-portable, tax-sheltered, untraceable wealth. To the untrained eye, they're beautiful. To the trained hand, they're vanishing. For archaeologists, the story of the pink diamond is a modern parable. It's about what happens when nature stops producing. But humanity keeps wanting. When the mines run dry, but demand only sharpens. And in that gap between extinction and obsession, value becomes limitless. This one doesn't shine the brightest. It doesn't even try to. But behind closed doors, when royals, billionaires, and private banks move quietly, this is the gem they trade. Born from deep earth pressure and traces of boron, blue diamonds are almost impossible to find, and even harder to price. The last time one appeared at auction, it sold for nearly $4 million per carat, and that was years ago. Top 1, blue diamond. There are gemstones that dazzle, and then there are those that unsettle, not because of what they are, but because of who owns them and why. The blue diamond is not the most famous gemstone. It's not the flashiest nor the largest. But in the world of unspoken power, it stands alone. True blue diamonds are geological anomalies formed deep beneath the earth under extreme pressure, where trace amounts of boron infiltrate the carbon structure. This boron is what gives the stone its distinct color, icy, steely, sometimes almost violet, a blue that doesn't sparkle like joy, but gleams like something ancient, calculated. They come from just a handful of sources. South Africa's Cullinan Mine, India's historic Golconda fields, and a few other locales so closely guarded their exact coordinates remain off record. The process to extract one is Herculean. Millions of tons of rock moved to maybe, just maybe, find a rough blue stone the size of a fingernail. Most never see daylight. The few that do are tracked, registered, and quietly acquired long before they're offered publicly, if ever. And then comes the cutting. Blue diamonds are notoriously difficult to facet. Their internal stress makes them unpredictable. One wrong angle, and $1 million rough becomes worthless dust. But if done right, the result is beyond value. Case in point, the Blue Moon of Josephine, a 12.03 carat flawless, vivid blue diamond, sold in Geneva for 48 million US dollars. That's nearly $4 million per carat, and that was nearly a decade ago. But the true story of blue diamonds doesn't live in auctions. It lives in vaults, in sealed deals between royal families, in financial instruments disguised as heirlooms. Because to own a blue diamond is not about beauty, it's about control. Control of value that never depreciates, control of assets that transcend borders, taxes, and public eyes, control of something no one else can replicate, buy off a shelf, or produce with technology. To archaeologists, blue diamonds are the final proof that nature doesn't just make art. It makes leverage. It makes silence. It makes the kind of wealth that never speaks, because it never has to.